Let's do valid parentheses. So we're given a string and we have to tell whether or not it's gonna form a valid parentheses, right? If we look at the constraints, we're guaranteed that the string only contains these characters, right? And I'll give you an example of how the edge cases are like what the cases can be, right? So okay, so it's like the string can be something like this, right? And then or something like this or something like this. Here you can see that the opening is not the same type of the closing, right? And then here there's a closing parentheses without a valid opening of that type, right? And then here there is an extra closing parentheses, right? So the way we're going to do it is this is one of the first problems that made me realize the importance of a data structure. So we're going to be using a stack, which is a last in first out data structure. So our stack is only going to contain opening types, and then when it finds a closing parentheses and it is matching the opening one, then it's going to get popped because we're done with it. We don't really need it, and we need access to what's before this valid thing is done with, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to iterate through the string, right? And let me explain like how these cases are going to get handled. Here, like at the end, the stack is not going to be empty. Here as well, the stack is not going to be empty, right? Like this is going to get popped, but this still is going to be there. So like remember, we're popping if they're matching, right? So at the end it's going to look like this, right? And then we're going to make sure this doesn't happen, because if stack.pop is not going to be C, is not C, we're going to return false. And if the stack is empty and then the C, like while iterating through the string, right, the C happens to be a closing and the stack is empty, is going to return false. That's how we're going to handle this case. And this is the same thing as before. I'm just giving you an example. Like the stack is going to pop this thing right here, and these both are essentially going to be the same, but I'm just giving you the exact example. So basically we iterate through the string, and C is going to be the character. If it's an opening type, then we add it, because we don't know, there could be closing after, like later on there could be a closing type that's gonna match. So we're gonna, by default, we're gonna keep adding any opening type, and then otherwise if it's a closing type and then stack.pop matches the exact opening parentheses type, then you're good, right? Like, and otherwise, like if stack is empty, or if it's not the same opening type as the C, right, it doesn't match the closing, which is C, then we're gonna return false, right? So all right, let's start coding this up real quick. So we can create a map character vector equals new, or map.of. I'm going to explain why I'm doing this in a second. And then okay, so the way we're gonna check what type it is gonna be like this. Like, so this, what this looks like in the map is gonna look like this. Key, and then value, right? And then so on. So the way we're going to check whether it's a closing type is we're going to do map dot contains key, this one, while iterating, right? Like in the for loop. C string or s dot, right? So we're gonna do C, right? Like if that C is like, if map dot contains key C, then that means it's a key. It's not a value. Keys are always closing, right? So that's how we're gonna differentiate between the opening type and the closing type. So let's start iterating through the string. If map dot contains so it's a closing type, and what we got to do is we have to make sure the stack is not empty. So let's initialize the stack. So we're going to do if stack, we have to make sure that stack is not empty, and it is matching like the opening, and stack.pop has an opening that is of the same type as this closing right here, right? And it's a closing because map.contains key. So that's how we know it's a closing. So stack, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to say if stack dot is empty, or stack dot pop is not equal to map dot get C. What this does is it's gonna retrieve what the opening type should be for this character, which is a closing, because we just checked map dot contains key. Return false. So so this is going to return false if this is the case, and then and else we're going to do stack dot push C. We're going to return stack dot is empty, because remember, there could be cases like this, right? Like this is an invalid string because there's no closing of that type. Yeah, so that's the whole algorithm.